Hello, good evening. It's News 360 coming to you live from the News Hub here at Adesawe Kanda. I am Portia Gabo.
And I am Martin Asiedu Date. Coming up this evening.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint
and Napa Foods, Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil.
Tonight, National Security Ministry denies forced repatriation of Burkinabe refugees, indicating that any such process will be in accordance with international protocol.
Ghana ranked 51st, down 8 places as world's most peaceful country per 2023 Global Peace Index.
Also coming up, President Akufo-Addo eulogizes late Ghanaian literary icon Ama Ata Edu, acknowledging her groundbreaking works.
The community of writers has lost one of its greatest members, one who will be extremely difficult to replace.
In business news, World Bank renews commitments to help Ghana revive its economy.
Later in sports, Ghana to face Mali, Madagascar, Central African Republic, Comoros and Chad in the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers.
On the international front, South Africa's top court rejects attempts to overturn a previous decision that found former President Jacob Zuma should go back to jail.
We have details of all these stories and more, and be part of the show by sending your thoughts and comments on the stories we have for you tonight.
The news now in detail, and President Akufo-Addo joined family and people from all walks of life to mourn the passing of Ghanaian author Ama Ata Edu at a burial service at the forecourt of the State House in Accra. In an emotional tribute, the president praised the late literary icon for her groundbreaking works, which he acknowledged explored complex social issues.
He was beautiful, but that was not important.
News of her death dismayed a lot of people. Proof of her towering influence in literary, feminist and political spaces. It was a solemn ceremony at the forecourt of the State House to bid farewell to a prolific author and former Ghanaian Education Minister, Ama Ata Edu, who passed away on May 31 at the age of 81. President Akufo-Addo, in a tribute to the late professor, said there were young contemporaries at the University of Ghana as students and described her as an outstanding writer and women's advocate.
The community of writers has lost one of its greatest members, one who will be extremely difficult to replace. She was my contemporary in the 1960s at Ghana's premier university, the University of Ghana, Lagos. Even though she was 4 years older than me, she was someone with whom I enjoyed friendly and productive relations. Through her work, she made a tremendous contribution to the development of our country and continent and expressed so many of the feelings about our fate as Ghanaians and indeed as Africans.
Former President John Dramani Mahama acknowledged her significant contributions to Ghanaian academia.
We'd like to share about her. Well, everybody has fond memories of Ama Ata Edu. She's one of our most famous writers. We've all known her as kids growing up, reading her works. But my closest encounter with her was when I published my own book, my first coup d'etat. And she came for the launch and then also visited my house where we held a reading party. All sad at her passing. She was a very strong character and stood for women's rights and so also for the African personality. And so we wish the family condolences.
She was Ghana's foremost writer and her distinguished career spanned several decades. Her literary contribution places her among the generation of African female writers of the post-independence era. She was one of the most celebrated in Africa and contributed immensely to the development of Ghana and the African continent through her writings.
She spoke the truth. She stayed as a Ghanaian, an African, and someone who never wavered in her journey to the African paradise.
Her remains will be conveyed to Abiajik Chiako for the final funeral rites on Saturday, July 15. Ghana and the world may have lost a commanding presence on the literary stage, but her works will remain as cherished classics in African and world literature. Godwin Asideba, TV3, Accra.
May her soul rest in peace. Away from that, Ghana has dropped to the 4th place in sub-Saharan Africa in the latest Global Peace Index. In the 2022 index, Ghana was ranked 2nd most peaceful country in Africa. Ghana ranked 51st as the most peaceful country in the world per the 2023 Global Peace Index, down 8 places.
Sub-Saharan Africa recorded a slight fall in peacefulness in the 2023 GPI, with the average country score deteriorating by 0.57%. Ghana is ranked the 4th most peaceful country in Sub-Saharan Africa, seeing a decline of 0.014. The most peaceful country in the Sub-Saharan African region is Mauritius. Iceland remains the most peaceful country in the world, a position it has held since 2008, while Afghanistan remains the least peaceful country in the world for the 8th consecutive year. The Global Peace Index by the Institute of Economics and Peace is the world's leading measure of global peacefulness and ranks 163 independent states and territories according to their level of peacefulness.
Well, let's find out what really happened and how come Ghana has dropped these many places, 8 points we are told. Joining us to have this conversation is Reverend Dr. Ernest Edujemfi. Good evening, Reverend, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I'm sure you've been following this report, and from the indications they are saying that recent reports of armed robberies and highway robberies and, recent reports about the media and attacks on journalists, etc., have all contributed to Ghana dropping these downwards. From where you sit, is that a fair representation of what has really happened, or it's been blown out of proportion?
Well, thank you for asking me. I think that some of the issues you've raised are real. They've actually happened, and they affect the region of the country when it comes to the measure of the peace index of the country. But there are some other factors from the report that looks at low crime rate, robust education and welfare systems, fair pay salary for workers, virtually non-existent tension among the economic class, political stability, freedom of the press, and an increasing political division among the populace. Now, these are all factors that come into play when it comes to some of these issues. But what is of concern to us is that we have been displaced in the West African sub-region by Sierra Leone. And if you look at all the things that we put in place in Ghana as compared to Sierra Leone, we should have been way higher than where we are now. But unfortunately, that is the rating that we have received. But besides all these things, the other thing that we have to look at is the fact that sometimes some of these things come up as perceptions, and we need to be mindful of what we do and how we do certain things. For over a period now, we've had attacks on the security services. We've had the case of the shooting of the immigration officer in Boko. We've had the robbery attack where the policeman was shot. So what is happening is that civilians are now turning their attention now on the security services, which is not good enough for us. And for us as a country, these are things that we ought to be mindful of. That when civilians begin to attack the security services, it's giving an impression as if our security system has broken down. Secondly, the perception on social media is quite strong. If you travel out of this country and meet Ghanaians outside, the impression they have based on what they've read on social media gives an impression as if there's nothing good happening in this country. And sometimes we have to go over and explain to them that some of this information is not true and all of those things. So there are times that the perception we ourselves are putting out does not help our country. Most of the ambassadors who come to this country come meet us as Peace Council. They want to find out what is going on. And some of them come really alarmed because they read all kinds of things. And we have to sit down and explain to them the reality on the ground. So I think that we Ghanaians must learn from these experiences and learn not to throw our dirty linen into the public space, because those things affect us. Sometimes you hear people sit on radio or television saying all kinds of things. And sometimes they are exaggerated, sometimes they are not facts, but then all this information is put out. And then the international media picks all these things. So there are things that we are doing to ourselves that does not help us in terms of our global rating.
Right. And in wrapping up this conversation, Reverend Doctor, what would you say will be the best approach to reversing this trend, especially on the back of the fact that we are a few months away from a major election, and you know that the temperature in the country almost always rises when we are inching closer to election, nearing campaigns or periods. How can we reverse this or slow down or halt this kind of perception or real security issues?
I think that for us as a country, there's a need for us to assess where we are. If you look at the 2020 elections, and then you look, and then I also by-elections and all the things that happened. If you compare that to Kumawu and Asin North, you can see that we have really made improvement in terms of the policing of the election, in terms of all the logistics that were put in place. Immediately after the 2020 election, the Peace Council had a review of that whole election process with every key person that was involved in the elections. Then we line up a roadmap as to some of the things we have to do to ensure that these things do not happen again. We've rolled out this whole roadmap up to today. In fact, we've just come back from a dialogue between civilians and the police. We did one in February, we've done another one yesterday and today, bringing all the political parties together with the police to look at issues within the political system that creates tension amongst us. These are all the things that we've been doing, and several other things. We've had education for market women, we've had education for fisher folks, we've had for the GPRTU. We've done all of these things. Gradually, we are creating stability within the country. But as I said, we as Ghanaians must begin to appreciate some of these things. For instance, I commended the police, the Electoral Commission, and the political parties for what happened at Kumawu and Asin North. All of us should first congratulate them. They have done very well. But then we have not reached where we want to be. So we encourage them to continue to do that. And the public must see these developments and appreciate where we are.
Reverend Dr. Adu Gyamfi, thank you so much for your time this evening. And we have some more stories for you. Portia?
Yes, and let's go to Parliament, where news coming in indicates that the Speaker has directed the setting up of a 7-member committee to investigate the leaked tape seeking the ousting of the Inspector General of Police. Let's now cross over to the House, where our parliamentary correspondent Komla Kluche is standing by. Komla, thank you so much for your time. Can you give us more details about the constitution of the 7-member committee?
So just about 3 days ago, the Speaker had cause to ask that the House would investigate the matter. In fact, this was brought to the attention of the House by the North Tone member of Parliament, Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa. There was a back and forth over this matter, but the Speaker said, okay, the House was going to go into it, pending an official statement that should be made by the deputy minority leader. Just this evening, a short while ago, the deputy minority leader, Emmanuel Amat Kofi-Boa, made that statement to the speaker. And these are the terms and the references, 6 of them, that the authenticity of the leak tape should be established, to investigate the conspiracy to remove the current IGP, to investigate any further matter containing the audio recording, recommend sanctions to persons found culpable where appropriate, make recommendations for reforms when necessary, and make such other recommendations and consequential orders as the committee may deem appropriate. In fact, the speaker said there should be a 7-member committee, 3 from both sides and a technical person. This was what the speaker had to say a short while ago.
We need some of you who are very good in IT and other areas to submit your talents and skills to the committee for this work to be done. So I propose that we establish a committee of 7 members. 7 members. Is that okay? 7 members. Leadership will nominate 3 from each side of the House, and we'll get a technical person to add to make it 7. That's why I'm calling it a special committee, so that you investigate this matter and then submit your report. So I await the nominees from the 2 caucuses, 3 each, and then a technical person will also be nominated to assist the committee in its investigation and report to the House. I so direct. Leadership, please, within 1 week, we should get the names submitted. Because I know you have to meet your caucuses and make some consultation within 1 week.
Komla, we just heard from the Speaker. What's been the reaction from both sides of the House on this directive?
Well, quite unanimous. They've been expecting it because they debated a back and forth on this transpired just a couple of days ago, and so there's no opposition to this. What it then means is that both sides will have to nominate people who are experts in this field. So they will need IT experts. So the minorities will need to get people who have forensic background and then also IT background as well. The same applies to the other side, and all of this will be brought to bear on how they'll be able to unravel the circumstances leading to the coming out of this tape, the true intention, and then those individuals who are possibly behind this tape. And within 1 week, they are supposed to get the members, the 7 members, because they need to do some more consultation on this from the caucuses, and then they can zoom straight into action. The House, however, has just about 3 more weeks to be able to go. There's no timeline actually to this, but we will just wait in the coming days to be able to tell how it's going to pan out.
Komla, thank you so much for your time, and Komla Kluche is our parliamentary correspondent.
In other news this evening, the National Security Ministry has denied accusations of forced repatriation of Burkinabe refugees from the country. This was after the United Nations Refugee Agency, UNHCR, accused Ghana of expelling these nationals. Noble Crosby Annan has more in this report.
It was reported that the Ghanaian forces was embarking on an operation at border communities in part of the Upper East region aimed at flushing out foreign nationals suspected to have entered the country under the guise of asylum seekers. The reports, which reached international media houses, prompted a reaction from the United Nations Refugee Agency, UNHCR. In a statement, the UNHCR urged Ghana to seize the forced return of Burkinabe nationals in need of protection, calling it expulsions amounting to a violation of the non-refoulement principle and guarantee access to the territory and asylum to nationals of Burkina Faso seeking international protection. Now, this prompted a quick response from the Ministry of National Security, firmly denying the reports alleging the Ghanaian forces' involvement in the forced repatriation of Burkinabe refugees from Ghana. In a statement, the ministry affirmed Ghana's unwavering commitment to offering shelter and support to Burkinabe nationals who have been displaced as a result of security challenges in southern Burkina Faso, aiming to the establishment of a temporary reception center in the Upper East region capable of holding over 2,100 displaced people from Burkina Faso. Plus, a 30-acre land has been acquired for the establishment of housing facilities to host displaced persons. He added that currently there are 530 displaced Burkinabes being accommodated at the reception center, and all of them have access to food and medical care. The National Security Ministry says, contrary to claims that displaced Burkinabes are being forced out of Ghana, a repatriation process has been instituted at the reception center to aid the movement of Burkinabes who wish to return to their home country. The National Security Ministry added that the repatriation process is consistent with international protocols on the management of refugees, and that is contrary to the claims by the UN Refugee Agency of a violation of the non-refoulement principle for international protection matters. The ministry stated it would, however, continue to undertake the necessary operations to safeguard the peace of the country.
Let's try and make sense of all this that's been happening in the last 24 to 48 hours. Tete Paddy is the Executive Secretary of the Ghana Refugee Board. Good evening, sir. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, Martin.
All right, to start with, your body, that is the Ghana Refugee Board, is the sole agency mandated to grant refugee status to asylum seekers. Have you been involved in the registration and classification of these Burkinabe nationals seeking asylum in Ghana?
We have been involved in registering refugees and asylum seekers. And as your the preamble indicated, we've registered about 3,100 already. However, none of these registered asylum seekers, to the best of my knowledge, has been repatriated.
Sorry, I didn't get the last part. You say a number of them have been repatriated?
No, what I said was that none of the asylum seekers we have registered has been repatriated.
Right. And so have you also heard reports, especially that coming from the UNHCR, that Ghana is forcefully repatriating these refugees? Have you heard this report?
Yeah, we've cited the report.
And as the sole state agency handling these matters, what do you make of it?
I think we need to get some more clarity on the individuals involved, and so that we can speak to the issues from a point of knowing exactly what has taken place.
What has the collaboration been like between the Ghana Refugee Board and the National Security, who are also undertaking an operation to also screen these refugees who are coming in, because there is a fear that some of them could be jihadists and have ulterior motives for the country?
So before we go into register any asylum seekers, we make sure we have security clearance before we register them. So to answer your question directly, we have collaborated very well with the security agencies. So there is no cause for alarm in terms of us, the potential of registering people who are of security concern. We work together very well on that sense.
All right, Mr. Paddy, thank you so much. Since this is still a fluid subject, we'll be engaging you subsequently to get how much more information you have on this. You're still watching News 360 on TV3. On to some other stories.
Let's go to the courts, where lawyers for former Deputy Finance Minister Dr. Kayzo Latoforson have filed a motion for the presiding judge on the ambulance purchase trial to recuse herself. Dr. Latoforson also applied for the release of his passport, which had been seized as part of his bail conditions. Lord Idwasari sat through proceedings and reports.
Presiding Judge Ifyasewa Asare-Botwe noted that the third accused person in the case, Richard Jakpa, has petitioned the Chief Justice for her to be removed from handling the case alleging bias. She therefore adjourned the trial to July 27, by which time a determination would have been made by Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu. In a related development, NDC members of parliament who had vowed to consistently throng the court premises anytime their colleague MPs had a hearing were absent in court to support the minority leader. It is unclear if their action is stemmed from a directive by Speaker Alban Bagbin charging minority members to seek permission before boycotting parliamentary proceedings. The NDC MPs had proposed to be marked absent with permission whenever they boycotted Parliament to support Collins Dauda, Jachi Kwesen, and Dr. Keso Atto-Forson, who have cases at the Accra High Court. Together with two others, Dr. Keso Atto-Forson is standing trial for causing financial loss to the state in the purchase of some 200 ambulances for €2.37 million. Lord Edwasari, TV3 News, Accra High Court.
You're still watching News 360 on TV3. We have many more stories for you. We're also streaming on our website, 3news.com. We are going on to some major subject matters having to do with our environment and issues of Galamsey. And we know that the National House of Chiefs, for instance, have, re-echoed the need for us to be more responsible when it has to do with issues of keeping our environment clean and safe, water bodies and forest reserves.
Exactly, and it looks like the shift has gone down on Galamsey. We are not talking about it, but the river bodies are still being polluted.
And extremely brown. All right, let's bring you the fine details of the story, because the National House of Chiefs has re-echoed calls for the end to Galamsey. At a general meeting of the House where members speak of key national issues, the chiefs observed a surge in Galamsey activities during the electioneering year. And apart from that, they've also touched on a number of national issues, including the anti-LGBTQ bill, which is in Parliament. And they are saying that they are in full support of the House passing the bill. We'll give you full details of that story subsequently. You're still watching News 360. All right, so let's go and hear specifically what the National House of Chiefs have been saying.
Commitment upon commitment have been made to end illegal mining, locally referred to as Galamsey in Ghana. But the lip service appears to be more than the action. Huge resources have been committed to ending the menace, but it seems government has lost the fight as the illegality continues to swell. President of the National House of Chiefs, Oji Ahohoya Ojebi II, at a meeting to address key national issues, is worried over the matter.
There is always a surge in Galamsey activities during election years, as governments, both current and past, do not demonstrate enough political will to deal decisively with the menace during election periods. The fight against Galamsey must be inclusive and intensified.
Also key to the discussion was the issue of LGBTQ. The chiefs have made their stance clear.
LGBTQ+ is evil. We, the chiefs and our subjects, declare that we will not allow any group to propagate any cause, conduct, or behavior called LGBTQ+, or similar, be it man marrying man, or woman marrying woman, or in any other form in Ghana. This is an abomination, and we declare as immoral and an affront, an infringement of our cherished values.
The growing chieftaincy dispute was also raised.
There is an upsurge in the incidence of chieftaincy disputes in the country. Such conflicts affect development and have the potential of breaching national security. Indeed, the National Security Minister has intimated to me that about 65 to 70% of all security issues are related to chieftaincy. And we cannot sit unconcerned while a few individuals work to tarnish the image of the entire institution.
Minister of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Stephen Asamoah Boateng, who was present at the meeting, said efforts are underway to resolve chieftaincy disputes.
This kind of 70% of chieftaincy disputes affecting our security cannot be allowed to continue. It is therefore my singular objective to do all I can to work with all stakeholders to reduce these disputes down drastically. My view is that we must have a paradigm shift from the frequency in which these disputes are taken straight to the courts and put greater efforts into the alternative dispute resolution.
Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Kumasi.
You're watching News 360 live from the News Hub here at Addis Awikanda. We have the latest and business news coming up shortly. Don't go away.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
You are your own person, unique, one of a kind, special. That's why you deserve everything tailored to suit your particular taste, your preference, your needs. Just like MTN Just For You. You can get customized offers tailored to who you are. Dial *141# or use the MyMTN app to get to choose from a variety of offers made just for you.
Many people think I get whatever I want because I'm a popular actress. But no, that is not true. Me Alcasano, Adebia mi yebiano, me shishimpe papano. And when I find it, I stick to it. My shishimenya Bell Pack tissues. Bell Pack ewe tea roll. Bell Pack tea roll. Soft, but not weak. Strong, but not hard. It is smooth. Me yusua, me hotome. It's just perfect. Same as the kitchen towel. What about what? What me the papaye? What me soaki? Echimu esa pepa. One Bell Pack kitchen towel lasts longer and saves you money. It's time you switch to Bell Pack today. Say here pocket tissue, table napkin, tea roll, and a kitchen towel. Bell Pack is simply the best. It's just perfect.
Nothing feels so good like Bell Pack.
Money there, 1 MP. Day 1539 chop money abija. You chop money no pay biara. I want no 25 bremo. Abra obet dial *446#. Na select option 2 no. Nature day 1539 chop money. Try direct 2 no. Na this kind of the try no mo 40 times. Direct 3 no. Na this kind of the try no mo 400 times. Na direct 1 no. But this kind of the try no mo 20 times. Wait me swap permit numbers no. Now wait didn't what me have our man so every bako. I could see a dear sankron. Then the day I am rekeke. Today 539 direct. Nanuni lottery and more when you sound robe bree and you can papa. Wait me D. You will chop money on a pebiera. No for good mobile wallet so. Dial *446#. Nature Dewa 539 chop money. Dewa.
The business segment is brought to you by MTN, Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
Good evening and welcome to the business segment on News 360. My name is Michael Obodu. The World Bank has reaffirmed its dedication to assist Ghana in revitalizing its economy During her inaugural visit to the country, Managing Director for Operations at the Bretton Woods Institution, Anna Berde, emphasized the need to engage policymakers in finding solutions to the present economic challenges. Ghana has been grappling with an economic crisis, primarily caused by surging inflation, which has reached unprecedented levels. Additionally, the country's currency has weakened significantly, trading at a double-digit rate against the dollar. This is coupled with mounting public debt, which consumes a substantial portion of the nation's dwindling revenue. The government sought an IMF bailout program to mitigate the predicament. Addressing the country during her maiden visit, World Bank Managing Director for Operations Anna Berde said her organization will collaborate with Ghana to reduce the cost of living.
We had a very, very good morning visit and discussion with the authorities broadly on the economic outlook of the country. Like many countries around the world, Ghana also is having difficult times economically, but we are working to help move on many important areas to be able to improve the economy, particularly bring down the cost of living, inflation, which is hurting many people around the world, but also continuously improve the business environment, more private sector, more jobs.
She further expressed the intention to engage both the private sector and the government in formulating effective economic solutions.
We'll continue to have discussions with the private sector to hear from them directly. What do they need in order to be able to scale and do much more in investing in Ghana, creating jobs, creating growth. And really, I hope to come out of this visit with a better understanding of Ghana's needs and how the World Bank can be most helpful.
Economist at the University of Ghana, Dr. Edu Owusu-Sarkodie, has described government's decision to dispose of 17 defunct state-owned enterprises as unfortunate. Some of these entities include the State Construction Company, Bonsa Tire Factory, and Bolgatanga Meat Factory, among others. According to him, the move, although not welcome news, will enable the country focus more on the remaining enterprises and the industrialization agenda.
A review of the companies revealed that the enterprises are liabilities to the country because they have been causing financial losses to the state. Senior lecturer at the Economics Department at the University of Ghana says despite the state of these companies, government must ensure value for money.
Everything now we are looking for in terms of our industrialization drive is to create jobs, reduce imports so that we can save our city in the coming years, medium to long term. So that's the strategy that the government should adopt.
There are further plans to also list some of the state-owned enterprises on the stock market to attract investors and to help revive them. This is expected to allow the investing public have equity stakes in these companies for growth. Executive Director at Bora Capital, William Mensah, explains the implications of this move.
It will be difficult to tell what the impact of these decisions would be until we know exactly which companies they intend, the state in which the companies are, the kind of board they want to put in place, and other fine details that we may not know yet. For the stock exchange also, it doesn't hurt to get more companies listed. It improves the options that are available for investors to put their money in, and it deepens transactions and flow of funds within the economy.
Nestle Ghana has rewarded 7 winners of its Ideal Sochisa promo, an all-expense paid trip to Dubai for a week. According to the household brand, it is committed to rewarding its valued customers for years of patronage. The Ideal Sochisa to Dubai promotion was a 4-month campaign to reward loyal customers of Ideal Milk in all 16 regions in Ghana. The company received over 450,000 entries across the country. Winners shared their excitement.
I entered three. Yes, I think 2 of the 150 and that's 1 of the 370 grams. That was what I keyed in, and trust me, I'm like, even when the call came, trust me, I was like, Allah, afa, that was it. So I'm so grateful. So me being part of the lucky winners to Dubai, all I'll say is I'm so grateful to Ideal, and God bless them for whatever they've done for me. Since this is with the +1, my special +1 is next to me, and We are so grateful, and I'm so excited. Besides, her birthday is approaching, and trust me, this is the best birthday gift I ever get for her.
Other participants received various awards, including cash, shopping vouchers, television sets, fridges, and gas cookers through mini draws.
This Ideal Sochi SAR promo, which is the all-expense paid trip to Dubai, is a way of saying thank you to our loyal consumers. For as long as we have consumers, we'll keep listening and crafting promotions that excite our consumers.
Nestle Ghana provides affordable, nutritious foods and beverages to enhance the quality of life.
Well, that will be all for business here on News 360. For more business stories, please visit our website, 3news.com. My name is Michael Obudu. Thank you for watching. As always, please stay safe. Up next is sports.
You are your own person, unique, one of a kind, special. That's why you deserve everything tailored to suit your particular taste, your preference, your needs. Just like MTN Just For You. You can get customized offers tailored to who you are. Dial *141# or use the MyMTN app to get to choose from a variety of offers made just for you.
Pepsodent introduces charcoal and lemon essence. The unique combination of natural essences whitens teeth naturally for you and family because every smile matters. New Pepsodent Herbal. Introducing a unique combination of herbal extracts in an antibacterial toothpaste for strong teeth and healthy gums that protects your family and you. Every smile matters.
Whenever you fly to space or take your first step as baby, SoftCare always stays with you.
New SoftCare Space Series is rooted from space technology. Keeps you dry and comfortable for 12 hours long. Offers you the most effective protection during your space journey.
SoftCare. Protect your leap.
Are you tired of struggling with bad financial situations? At Quick Credit, we understand the difficulties that come with transitioning to a better one. That's why we're here to simplify the process for you. With loan facilities from 1,500 cedis upwards, all you have to do is call and we will take care of the rest. All you need is your national ID. No savings, no collateral, no susu, no deposits, and no account opening required. Quick Credit has you covered. Whether you're expanding a business, starting a new one, facing an emergency like school fees or funeral expenses, or even just in need of a salary loan. What are you waiting for? Call Quick Credit today. 0302-200-390 or 059-692-0833. We do not give loans via the internet. Quick Credit is regulated and licensed by the Bank of Ghana. Terms and conditions apply. Quick Credit. Lending made simple.
Sports segment is brought to you by
Gentleman Cosmetic Range,
Bell Pack Tissues.
Welcome back to News 360. Time now for sports, and Dore Kwampofo is here to confirm that the Black Stars will qualify to the 2026 World Cup. But this one is Mali.
It could have been worse.
It could have been worse. You know. So you give us details because you know the draw has been done.
Yeah. So earlier today, the Confederations of African Football conducted the World Cup qualification draw with 52 African teams set to battle for places in the 2026 World Cup tournament. We have more details for you in the following report.
It was showtime. Countries was set to be decided in Abidjan, Ivory Coast. For the first time in football history, 9 African countries will automatically qualify for the 2026 World Cup to be hosted in the USA, Canada, and Mexico, with the potential of a 10th through a playoff. As a result, there was a reshuffle of the qualification process.
The format will consist of 9 groups of 6 teams, and the winners of each of those groups will qualify directly to the FIFA World Cup 2026. In addition to that, 4 best Group runners-up will participate in the CAF playoffs to determine which team will represent CAF in the FIFA playoff tournament to be held in March 2026.
FIFA President Gianni Infantino believes the new qualification process will be exciting.
We will have all African countries participating in what will be an incredibly exciting and passionate qualification path to the World Cup 2026. We are looking forward to this draw, but then most importantly to the games and all the emotions that we will feel.
JJ Okocha, who represented Nigeria in 3 World Cups, believes the increase in slots for Africa could see the continent complete.
It's great news for our continent that we have potentially 9 or 10 nations representing us. Of course, it gives us the opportunity to compete.
The wait was over as the balls were picked from pot 6 to 1. The groups filled up and took shape with every pick as countries patiently looked on. In the end, the fate of all 52 countries was decided in 9 groups of 6. The Black Stars were placed in Group I with familiar foes Mali, Madagascar, Central African Republic and Comoros, whilst Chad remains the only country Ghana is yet to face. Africa's top scorer at the World Cup, Asamoah Gyan, admits qualification for Ghana won't be easy despite its pedigree at the world stage.
I think we have been very consistent, except in 2018 that we didn't qualify. And it looks like we are getting used to the World Cup right now. And 2026 is not going to be easy. Expectation is high back home, but we will try our possible best to make sure we also qualify.
The journey to discover Africa's next representatives at the 2026 World Cup begins on November 13, 2023.
Let's now focus on the Black Stars and take a look at Group I and get a better idea of the teams Ghana would be competing against for a slot at the 2026 World Cup. And so Ghana has to top to ensure that they qualify directly, and because they're in pot 2, Mali were in pot 1, and so as Mali, Ghana, Madagascar, Central African Republic, and then Comoros. On paper, this looks like a slightly easier draw, but you just have to cast your mind back to the past year where Ghana have drawn with Madagascar and Central African Republic and then lost to Comoros and Mali. Well, from the senior national team, let's come a tier lower and focus on the Black Satellites because they've been eliminated from the ongoing WAFU Zone B Under-20 Championship after recording a 1-1 draw with host Ivory Coast. Samuel Boadu's competition throwing an early lead to draw 1-1 against Niger in the first game before losing 2-0 to Burkina Faso in the second match. In the game, in the other Group A game, Burkina Faso defeated Niger by 2-0 to finish top of the group with 9 points, whilst Cote d'Ivoire finished second with 4 points. Ghana eliminated from the competition after finishing third with 2 points, and then Niger finished bottom with a single point. From men's football, let's now do women's football because the Black Queens head coach Nora Haptel has stated that her team is taking things one step at a time as they aim to earn qualification to the 2024 Olympic Games. The team will face Guinea on Friday at 4 p.m.
We made a nice picture, you know, with the Volta and all the steps we're gonna take to the Olympics. We marked in this picture. And now it's to take it step by step, you know. We don't want to look all the time ahead. We know where our ship is riding on the Mission Volta. We know the direction. We know the harbors we're gonna sail into. But we always need, when you are on a boat riding, we always need to focus on the next harbor. The next harbor, it's Guinea, so we want to find a successful harbor, you know, and as soon as we arrive there and did the job, then we can also look to the next job.
Well, before we wrap up, let's just get updates from the Wimbledon as Ons Jabeur fought back from a set and 4-2 down. Sabalenka and reach a second successive Wimbledon final. The Tunisian world number 6 pulled through, winning 6-7, 6-4, 6-3, and will face Marketa Vondrousova for the title on Saturday. Well, that's how we're wrapping up the sports segment here on News 360. If you're after some more sports stories, you can follow us on social media at 3SportsGH. My name is Ore Kwampofo, and up next on the bulletin,